How do you manage Genji's ultimate? What's the best situation in your opinion to use it? There's never a good situation to use that thing. Whenever you pull it, 6 players will look at you, they will use every single cooldown on you, and you're just going to get booped all over the map, and then you're going to miss all your slashes, and then your dash is going to get messed up, and you're going to die. Just don't play Genji.
So, as you guys know, playing Genji over the past, year has just gotten more and more difficult. As a character that was already very difficult to play, the addition to many new heroes that were very difficult for Genji to play against made him fall out of meta for quite some time. Mercy's end meta, he was okay, but with the addition of Bridget into the game and the meta becoming way more evolved towards Sombra and Doomfist, heroes that just make Genji's life hell, as you can see in this clip.
They're gonna nano blade me. I'm ready to punch it.
Guaranteed.
It's gonna kill him too.
The game just becomes much more frustrating to play, and that Genji is just the epitome of playing Genji in Season 12 and onward. You're not going to have a good time. It's going to be a very difficult time for you, unless you're one of the best Genjis in the world, to sit down and enjoy playing Genji. But by the end of this video, you're going to have a lot more insight into what you need to do on Genji to be effective, when you should and should not play him, and just general tips and combos for his abilities that work well against certain heroes in certain situations. Alright guys, I'm actually re-recording the combos section just because I didn't like how it turned out the first time, and I want it to be very brief. I want to focus more on general overview of Genji in this guide rather than, specific combos, but I want to give you guys a couple combos that you can use against squishy heroes to start for today. So, one combo that's very good against McCree, Hanzo, Soldier, any hero, or Anna's even as well. It's really good against Anna's as well. Any squishy hero that you can finish off in one sweep of your abilities is a right click, deflect to predict their either stun, sleep, nade, whatever, dash at their feet to cancel their deflect, or your deflect, and then a right click and a melee if they're 1 HP. If they're not 1 HP, continue to right click until you get the kill. Because if you melee, it puts a longer cast time between your next right click than, doing this. This takes more time than this to get that maximum damage output out. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Say this is a McCree. Right click, deflect, dash, right click again. And they're dead. Melee if I need to finish him off. The whole point of the deflect is to quickly deflect their ability that they're going to use at you. Dash to cancel it and get your right clicks off really, really quickly. You can kill somebody within like a half-second time span. Something very, very fast. So it's really, really good. Another thing I want to talk about is dashing at target's feet from mid-range and saving your deflect to get out. If I'm like over here and I'm spamming somebody, I can just dash like close to their feet or on their feet. It's really hard to perfect, but if you like aim just below them, you can end up coming up just short and then right clicking for a base, however much damage a shuriken is. I forget it off the top of my head, but it's really, really good for doing a ton of burst damage very, very quickly. Like I just do that and I don't even have to aim. I just know that after I dash at their feet, I can right click straight away and put a ton of damage into them, and then, Genji does Genji things. So yeah, that's it for combos. I don't want to get too much into it. Let's get into the next part, which is more important. Alright, on to the next part of Genji. One of the most important things that you need to learn how to do is to build your Dragon Blade. There's a lot of ways to build your Dragon Blade, but the best way to do it other than poking with your shurikens is your deflect. Deflect actually builds Dragon Blade very, very quickly, and you should always be looking to deflect enemy Reinhardt fire strikes, Moira orbs, any projectile that you can deflect into multiple enemies on the enemy team will actually build your blade very quickly. So I want you guys to take a look at this clip, and this is one example of it.
I almost got mine up. They're all one.
Right.
So that's a perfect example of what you need to do with your deflect. Usually Reinhardt's just come around the first corner and chuck a fire strike at you. You should deflect that 100% of the time, because not only are you denying the enemy Reinhardt his ult charge, but if you do it right when they first come around a corner, you can usually get 2 to 3, maybe even 4 people. And that's like 20, 30, even 40% of blade off of a really good deflect, and that's really, really important. Just a quick note though, Fire Strike does come off of cooldown 1 second before deflect, so you're only really going to be able to get the first one and the third one and so on and so on. So just a fair warning, don't accidentally feed by thinking your deflect is off cooldown. It's only going to work for the first time, but just Building that blade is really, really important because if you get your blade before their supports get ults, that's basically a one team fight, and every 30 seconds that you shave off the clock by winning a fight actually helps you so much in terms of winning the game. Like, play one fight at a time, and buying that time for your team by knowing how to build your blade quickly will win you games on that factor alone. So next we're going to get into how you need to Dragon Blade in this season with Brig and all the hacks and stuns in the game. You cannot go in 1v6. I'm going to say this right now. Don't try to go in 1v6 as Genji. You will die. Here's a quick clip from Hydration actually kind of explaining Dragon Blade and when you should and should not Dragon Blade. Let's get right into it.
How do you manage Genji's ultimate? What's the best situation in your opinion to use it? There's never a good situation to use that thing. Whenever you pull it, 6 players will look at you, they will use every single cooldown on you, and you're just gonna get booped all over the map, and then you're gonna miss all your slashes, and your dash is gonna get messed up, and you're gonna die. Just don't play Genji.
Alright, so Hydration could not have said that better, guys. The one thing that I want you guys to fundamentally understand about Dragon Blade is that it's just a bad ability, okay? And as stupid as that sounds, if you try to use Dragon Blade against a team while they still have their abilities ready to go, you are not going to get a damn thing with that blade. Let's be real, guys. It's not going to happen. You're going to get break stunned. You're going to get hacked. You're going to get Doomfist punched. You're going to get slept and naded. Zarya is going to bubble their team, and you're just going to go in 1v6 and get absolutely rolled, okay? So the first thing that I want you guys to understand about Dragon Blade is that you need your team's help to get their cooldowns out and commit resources to you, okay? Either use a nano on yourself, wait for nano blade, and just say, hey Anna, let's combo nano blade, let's do this, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Communication is the most important thing about Dragon Blade. Having your Winston and your D.Va say, hey guys, you all dive the Bridget, force her cooldowns on you because you're tanks and you're gonna survive, then I come with Blade, and that Brig is not gonna do anything to your Dragon Blade if she's used her stun and her flail, okay? She's not gonna save anybody, she's just gonna die. And that's what you need to be waiting for. You need to be patient, communicate with your team, and say, force these cooldowns, then I'm gonna go in. The same is true with Zarya. Zarya bubbles can really stop your blade and mess up your resets. But if you wait for her to use her personal or use her team shield and then engage with your team, and arguably, I think the best way to do it is about 1 second after your dive tanks or your tanks go in or Zarya commits a bubble to you. Just go in there and force their cooldowns and then commit. Here's one example of it where I waited for Nano and went above the bridge hit. You can do what I did in this clip. It's just riskier. It's just much better to have your dive tanks dive their Winston or dive their Brig and dive their Anna. But as you guys can see, I kind of waited patiently for the fight to be started to then go in. If you go in 1v6 with Blade, you're just gonna die. Okay. Alright, walk in, walk in. Alright, ready?
They also used it? Yeah, they're
Oh, that's my monkey here.
Monkey low, monkey low, monkey low, monkey low.
Nano blading the back.
It's okay, we can kill Genji, kill Genji. Nice, leave it.
Vera next. Vera half. Dead.
She's dead, she's dead. Okay, we're gonna have to Nano Blade here. Can you enemy Anna? Can you enemy? Enemy right now.
Oh, he hits that. Holy shit, he hits that.
I need help on point. I'm not gonna heal for shit.
I think up 4, we should be okay.
Coming back in straight shit real quick. Oh, we're fine.
Alright guys, I just want to make sure you guys understand what I mean by that. Communication with your team, being patient, and waiting for your team to force their cooldowns before you go in on Genji. If you wait for the enemy team and just play mid-range to the point where you can close the distance to them without having to use your deflect or your dash and just poke shurikens to feed your blade and then go in on the Anna, the Brig, or whoever after they've used 1 or 2 of their cooldowns, you will find yourself becoming much more successful on the hero. Genji is no longer a hero that you can play by yourself, and obviously I'm not talking about the best Genjis in the world, but if you're watching this video because you are not one of the best Genjis in the world. You are not going to be able to win those fights by yourself, and you will see so much more success if you be patient with yourself, play a more patient Genji, poke to feed Blade until somebody's low, until your team creates an advantage for you that you can push, or their supports are spamming their cooldowns at you and you can deflect an Ananade or deflect a Fire Strike to make something happen. Being patient is the most important thing on Genji when there's so many abilities in the game that absolutely clobber the hero. So that's going to do it for part 1 of the guide. I am planning on making more, but I kind of want to divide it into certain parts so I can go into more detail and not have to make an hour-long video that, you know, people might not watch all the way through. I want to divide this into parts, have one part of Genji, another part of Genji. I'm planning on doing Hanzo or Sombra next. Please let me know down in the comments which hero you'd want to see. I could do a guide for any character, honestly. Any DPS character, even tank, but I think more people care about DPS than tanks, generally speaking, when watching my channel at least. So leave a comment down below about what DPS you'd want to see me do a guide on next. It's either probably going to be Hanzo or Sombra, and I'm leaning towards Sombra because I've already done a Hanzo guide, and I don't want to repeat myself over and over. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another stream, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. EST, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.